Exactly.
How about you?
Today is March,
That's fine.
today is March 10th, the public meeting in order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we all know what the clock died, so don't look at the clock. All right,
You're on the clock.
roll call.
Cleary. Aaron. Here. Meyer. Here. Gross. Coleman.
Here.
Whaling.
Here.
Minutes of the previous meeting, which was February 10th, 2014. Questions, discussion, changes, deletions, additions? If not, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made and there was a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Aaron.
Yes.
Meyer. Yes. Coleman.
Yes.
Whaling.
Yes.
Village clerk's report.
Total tax income received since the last board meeting, $122,342.18. The state's doing pretty good with keeping up with the income tax now, we're only 2 months behind, so it's a surprise. Also, a reminder, the deadline for dog tags is this Friday, March 14th. Dog tags are currently $10 each and will increase to $15 on Monday, March 17th.
I'd like to call one thing, Mr. President. I believe the village of Beecher may have made more on food stamps and jar games than the 4th of July this year.
You just stole my question or my comment.
Oh.
Anyways, I'm glad to see the money's coming. All right. Recognition of audience. Is there someone here from the Faith Church?
Yes.
Sir, could you state your name and your address?
John Borsman, 2941 East Brunswick Road, Beecher.
Go ahead.
As you said, I'm representing Faith Beecher at 201 East Church Road. We would like to put a storage container in the rear of the church. It's an 8-foot by 40-foot container. You should all have a diagram that shows a project survey with the container on it. If you go to the second page, it shows a little more detail how we want to set it at the rear of the building. You want to keep it 10 feet away from the building, 16 feet west of the southeast corner, and put a fence around it, keeping the fence 10 foot away from the container on all sides.
What type of fence would it be? Do you know?
It depends what you require. I'm not quite sure what the town requires for that, but we are thinking we can do it.
Questions of the board?
Is this for 3 years?
Yeah, it's temporary. We're planning on putting an addition on the church at some time, and this should satisfy us for 3 years.
Sir, did you say what size the container is?
It's 40 foot long, 8 foot wide. You're approximately 8, maybe 9 foot tall.
And if I see the diagram right, you're probably not going to be able to see it from the street at all, right?
Correct.
This parking lot that's shown to the west, that's not there yet.
No, it's not.
I didn't think so.
This was a preliminary drawing that I used just to show the size of the container.
Yeah. Questions?
Yeah, I had a question. The Faith Church, this is the one by the Shell gas station, or is this the one down by the school?
This is the one by the school.
By the school.
By the new junior high.
Used to be Beecher Community Church.
And what is the makeup of this container that you're thinking of putting there? Is it like a shed type, or is it a?
It's a van container. If you see like a semi going down the road, it would be the semi part. You see this containers, like a railroad container. That's basically what it is. And we will paint it to the color of the building also, so it will look better.
And what's the purpose?
For storage,
Like, what would you be storing in there?
miscellaneous furniture, a little bit of everything.
I understood it correctly, don't you have like a stage, so you have like stage props that are gonna go in there?
There'd be some stage props, like I said, furniture, some miscellaneous toys for the kids, and so it's
How tall is it?
approximately 8 to 9 foot tall.
Anything else, Skip?
No.
Person? Ron?
Nope.
Darren?
No, I think John took care of it.
One question is, what type of fence would you guys like around this? They're leaving it open apparently. I would go with PVC vinyl.
Looks,
What do you want as far as the gapping? Because we talked about this in our meeting.
No, I'm asking you guys, what would you
Why?
Yeah.
Just a suggestion, what is our ordinance allow?
This was part of a PUD when this church property was zoned, and I can't remember if this is R1 special use church or if it was B3 special use church, I can't recall.
But the current fence ordinance that we're referring to.
If it was a B3 district, he can go 8 foot south. If it's R1, he can only go 5 foot with 50% open. I don't recall what the specific zoning is of that property.
5 foot wouldn't even cover the whole site.
No,
Three foot.
he's proposing 6 foot. So I'm saying, since it's a PUD and you can amend it, I would say you could probably tell them any kind of fence you want.
I was trying to go with some guidelines to what we currently allow. So we currently have a 6 foot fence. And what if we allow some air flow through?
It's fine.
A shadow box maybe?
Do they make shadow box in PVC? I don't know. I know they do in cedar.
I believe they do,
They do.
but I'm not 100% sure.
Do you know what a shadow box is? You know, what I mean?
Or at least that airflow.
Yeah, it gives the appearance of a solid fence, but
We need some kind of airflow, because the wind's pretty strong back there, we don't get that.
So 6 foot shadow box, PVC.
should be in the form of a motion.
So
The proper motion would be granting a temporary use permit according to section 4.17 of the zoning ordinance for a period of 3 years for the container on a condition that they put a 6 foot PVC vinyl shadow box fence.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
there's a motion and there's a second. Any questions or discussion? Do you have a motion? And roll call.
Whalen?
Abstain?
Coleman?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Mansky?
Yes.
Do I need to put it down for permit, or is
Yeah.
this?
Go in
Get
there.
building permit from us, yeah.
Okay,
Then you're all set.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks for your time.
Thanks, John.
Okay, reports to Village Commission, Beautification Commission, yep.
We're having our meeting tomorrow, we meet at 7 at Village Hall. At our last meeting, we did talk about ordering the flowers, which I know now they have been ordered. Have you ordered them? 65
Yes,
of them?
and I understand that the colors have been ordered and everything. The only question is, we ordered 65, I just have to come back and make sure that they're doing 65 and not 60.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's do that.
Let's see how,
We'll wait tomorrow night and we'll,
That's all I have.
for the July Commission, Ron?
Yes, Fourth of July Commission, we met last week, and we've, the board approved a bid for a 2014 Chevy Camaro from Drowley and Piatone. A total of 6 bids turned in. The Drowley Chevy was the only one that fell into the specs that we required and was accepted by the Fourth of July Commission. I'll pass a picture of the car down. I'd like to make a motion to purchase the 2014 Chevy Camaro from Drowley Chevrolet in Piatone for the sum of $23,854.
Second.
Motion on the floor, there's a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
preparations for, the next 4th of July coming on. Also, along with the trolley car, they will again purchase the raffle tickets and furnish us with the sign on the side of the car, and pretty sweet deal.
How's it go all the way around? $5 a ticket, 6 for
1
20?
for 5, 6 for 20, 20 for 50
There you go.
at this point.
All right, is that it, Ron?
That's it. Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you. Youth Commission, I'll give that report. Both Bob and I and our wives dropped in on the mother-son dance Saturday night. And if you haven't, you should stop in at one of these events that the Youth Commission holds, because it's quite impressive. I would say they had 150, 200
Easy.
participants there, nice spread, nice decorations, nice music. Besides the burglar alarm going off while we were there, it was, well attended, and it was a pretty nice event. Proud of what the Youth Commission does and how they do it. There's
It's
some
good to
talent
see
there,
the police there as well, cooperating.
so it's pretty nice. Ribbon of Hope, Trustee Will.
Ribbon of Hope, we have not had a meeting since our last meeting. We're still looking for money, donations. So keep them coming in.
The Finance Administration Committee, Trustee Cleary asked that we try and delay this till as long as we can. Hopefully we will be here. If not, then we'll continue on the other meeting with that committee, so we'll skip that one for now. So the next one would be Public Buildings and Properties in Parks and Rec. Trustee Will.
Okay, park rules, ordinance update, got to get with Tim. Of course, today, all of a sudden, there's an urgency because it's 50 degrees out and, spring is right around the corner, I hope. There's another 6 inches of snow coming. But we're working on that. Welton Stat Park, Beecher Rec volunteered to have, I want to say it was sports field. Whoever opens and closes their fields down at Fireman's Park, they're going to evaluate the fields and give us some type of thing as far as what needs to be done over there. So we'll be talking to Buddy as far as getting things together there. I said that we have the labor, we just don't have the funds when it comes to the park. But we'll be working on that. Electrical connections and Fireman's Park update.
I believe that. Bud was sick last week, so he's not aware of this. Our ComEd representative changed, and I got a hold of the new rep. Maybe Buddy knows this already. All we gotta do is get the box to the pole, and ComEd charges us nothing for the connection. So our cost, or what it costs us to get the electrical connection to the 2 poles. But Ken Dabowski, who is an electrician, will meet with you sometime this week, and we're gonna try to get that in. If you trench the line and get the conduit in the ground, he will make the connection, correct? We have to go to Farm and Fleet and buy the right box, or what have you. We could do this for very inexpensive.
We have to locate the board, the scoreboard on the north field.
I already did that with,
Did you?
yeah.
Okay. Is there a stake out there, or?
It'll be where I pretty much, throw it at, and it's down first baseline.
And then, do you need to know from the Ribbon of Hope as far as where that other box?
That, I know, yeah, I probably have to get with you,
Okay.
but I know they're gonna share, there's gonna be a meter from the drop on the north end, and there'll be only 1 meter. First, they wanted to put 2 in and split it, but I told them that was kinda senseless, since we own all the property anyway.
Right.
So it'll be a drop on the north end and a drop on the south end.
How do they do that with 1 meter? Oh, 1 meter on each pole?
Yes, got it.
Yeah.
In a shared box.
Which will be the villages.
Right.
Okay.
Has there been any further discussion on whether that one scoreboard's going to be permanent or temporary?
No, we haven't made a determination yet. I know that there's a push to have it permanent, because of the fact of safety-wise and everything else. So we're probably leaning toward a more permanent scoreboard. Last Wednesday night, we had bid opening for 625 Dixie Highway. And there was one bid that came in and was open, and there was discussion about that, and we thought that maybe the 30-day bid period might have been a little bit aggressive as far as, because we did hear from other people, other contractors that said, you know what, I just didn't have enough time to do the bid work and come up with their specs. So we had one bid, was received and open. It was Lukey Construction in the amount of $303,890 plus $6,950 for interior painting, perimeter wall, okay, for the total bid of $310,840. Our budgeted amount for this project is $176,600, so it's quite a bit higher than what our anticipated budget was. And I think, you know, we're looking for comment, but I think what we need to do at this point is we're going to have to make a motion, reject it, and go out, and we'll follow the meeting notes as we go. Okay? So what I'm going to do is make a motion to reject the bid that was opened last Wednesday.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Whalen?
Yes.
Coleman?
No.
Meyer?
Yes.
Aaron?
No.
Samansky?
Yes.
Okay, what we also need to do now is to do a motion for reletting of bids, but before we do that, this time, the design specs will be modified to exclude all the alternates, including, or included in the cuts, is a storage building in the back, generator, all exterior work, separate ceiling throughout the building, which we talked about in length as far as, I think it's going to be less expensive to do a full ceiling and build the walls up to the ceiling. And I think that would be a better way to go. The village will be more aggressively in pursuing the bids from all over the region as well. Extend the period of time to submit bids to, I think we're leaning towards 60 days, is what we talked about. Bids will be formally advertised on March 20th and will be opened at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, May 7th.
We could actually add 15 days to that,
Okay.
because that's on a 45-day schedule. So that 7th probably becomes the 21st. And then the bids would be considered at the May 28th meeting, if that's what we decided to do with the payment dates.
Okay, we're still targeting completion date of the project around November 1st. So I'd like to make a motion to reletting the bids for the 625 Dixie Highway project per our discussion.
The motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, questions or discussion? Just the point is the alternates that he's mentioning in the discussion now in item number 5 should have been alternates in number 4, and they were not. They were included entirely in the bid. And that could be one of the reasons why it was high. So therefore, that's why we're specifying even more so in the discussion now, just to make a point.
Right.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Aaron? No. Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
No.
Whalen?
Yes.
Samansky?
Yes.
Okay, you know, when we talked about the alternates, we also talked about letting bids for the replacement of the roof at 625 Dixie Highway. The thought now is that the village, to complete this portion of the project itself, for 2 reasons: to reduce the amount of overhead on this item in the general contract, and since the roof needs to be replaced regardless of what happens to the building. We have the specs for the roof already prepared, so it is a matter of advertising the bids. We may also pursue the replacement of the furnace and air conditioning units on the roof prior to replacing the roof, so the holes through the roof are sized correctly.
I don't have an answer to that one today.
As far as the furnace and,
Right, I don't have an answer for that yet.
okay.
So we won't have advertise for bids if this motion passes until we get that question answered. Because then we're gonna have to cut a hole in the roof that we just put on.
Right. Now, are we going to also check into the existing units?
I think the discussion that we've had is that we believe that is the initial unit of the building. The building was built in 1995, did I hear right? 1980, so that's the original unit. I don't think it would be wise to invest into that at this particular point in time, but truthfully, we're waiting to have a discussion, further discussion on that. Like I said, we haven't made a firm decision on that, but what we've found out thus far is that we believe that's the original unit since 1980.
Okay, all right.
So we're back to where we were before, where we think, yeah, even if it did run, how long is it gonna last?
Right.
And I think the discussion that we have had is we believe most likely since it's been sitting idle for now, what, 8 years?
7 at least.
7, 8 years now, that it's probably froze up anyways.
Okay.
So I don't really want to throw away the money to even go that way, but it's still an option.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the letting of bids for replacement of the roof at 625 Dixie Highway.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call.
Whalen?
Yes.
Coleman?
No.
Parker? Meyer?
Yes.
Aaron?
No.
Smansky?
Yes.
That ends my report.
Thank you. Planning, building, and zoning? Yeah.
The building department monthly report was proposed for review. Consider a motion approving an expense of $2,017 from the MGM escrow account to Brandon Industries for the installation of 4 missing street name poles in the subdivision. After the foreclosure of the subdivision, we realized that 4 street corners were missing decorative street name poles. In the spring, Public Works will install these poles. I'd like to make a motion approving that expense of $2,017 from the MGM escrow account to Brandon Industries to install the 4 missing street name poles in the subdivision.
Motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Aaron?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes. Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
Consider a motion authorizing the village president and clerk to sign a new agreement with independent inspections for building department services. The fees go up only slightly and are the first increase since 2006. And there was a report that was opposed. So I'd like to make a motion authorizing the village president and clerk to sign a new agreement with independent inspection of building department services.
Motion on the floor, and there is a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
I'm sorry, was it trustee Coleman? Whalen?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes. Aaron?
Yes. Item number 4, consider an ordinance amending the fee charges in building permits. This ordinance makes a slight adjustment to the fee charges for building permits to keep up with the new agreement with independent inspections. There is no increase for new construction. Remodeling would go up $3 per thousand, and roofing permits would increase by $10 from $40 to $50. Sidewalk permits would also go up by $5 from $45 to $50. This should cover our fees for the next 5 years. So I make a motion amending the fee charges for building permits under ordinance number
1207.
What was that?
1207.
1207.
Correct.
I make that motion.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor, and there's a second. Any question? Is there a reason why 1207 didn't sound right, in case I'm missing something? Or am I mumbling?
1207, this was in 1207.
Okay, just making sure. Roll call.
Aaron?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes. Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
Consider an ordinance requesting firm footing and foundations on all structures exceeding 144 square feet in size. This was a zoning ordinance requirement, but should be in Title IV of the municipal code since it is a construction issue and not a zoning issue. It will also be easier for residents to find. This has been a recommendation since the original ordinance passed in 1997. I'd like to make a motion requiring firm footing and foundations on all structures exceeding 144 square feet in size under ordinance number
1208.
Thank you.
Second.
112.
Motion on the floor needs a second. Any questions or discussion?
I'm over 59.
Huh? Roll call.
Whalen?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes. Village working with DeJong Equipment on a new storage building. DeJong wishes to build a new storage building in the rear of the property. The back property would have to be rezoned from R1 to B3. Drainage concerns would also have to be addressed. We are expecting an application for rezoning if DeJong's engineers can solve the drainage concerns. This is just for informational purposes only. Item number 7, committee met to discuss various issues. The committee has met since the last board meeting and is recommending that the current fees for a special use permit and variance remains at $750 due to the current cost to the village associated with the process for consideration of these requests. We also did discuss the fence ordinance, and it was agreed that there is a rational nexus to allow a solid fence simply because a pool exists in the rear yard. There was also discussion to allow a 6-foot fence and move the current 5-foot fence as long as the top 1 foot of the fence was of a different design than the bottom 5 feet. And the committee also discussed whether to decrease the open space between the boards of a fence and agreed to meet again to discuss this issue further.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think on that, we would like feedback too, at,
Yes.
you know, some point. If you guys have any opinions as far as that goes. The fence issue has always been
Yes.
an issue.
It's always up for discussion.
Always been an issue. Yeah.
Did you bring your picture, Greg, of the fence?
No, but that's probably an idea, because maybe they could better understand.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I saw one of the pictures, yeah, and the 5-foot with the extra foot open on top, I like that.
Actually, I do have it, but it's on my phone.
Committee also agreed that an architectural code for commercial property should be considered in an architectural guideline to be provided for all new developments to be negotiated during annexation phase. Metesky was asked to provide a proposal for meeting with the committee to develop these new standards. Are you okay with doing that?
They're gonna submit a proposal. And I think, it's my understanding, the commercial code would be kind of set in stone. The residential code would be negotiated with the annexation. So I understand. That's the directions they've got, and they'll put together on a proposal for us.
Did they by chance, Bob, did you ask them anything about the fences? You know, other towns that they deal with, whether, you know, they can even come up with some recommendations for us?
Gail, every town has a different fence
Sure they
ordinance.
do.
Every town struggles through these issues, and there's no right answer. It's basically what the community wants. I know Peatone spent a year and a half on their latest revision of their fence ordinance. We can certainly gather fence ordinances from surrounding towns that we could do, and give you an idea of what other towns are doing. But I don't want you to think just because some other town's doing it, that's the way we have to do it.
Right.
You do what you want, but we can sure give you some guidance. And I don't think we need to have Tess to do that, it's just a matter of going online and downloading some fence ordinance.
Yeah,
And that we can do.
okay. And that ends my report.
Public Safety Committee, trustee Cole.
Yeah, the police department monthly report is enclosed for your review. The police department annual report for 2013 has been distributed in your board packet, so it's there for your information. Consider an ordinance authorizing the president and the clerk to sign an intergovernmental agreement for the Rio Grande Major Crimes Joint Task Force. Chief, you want to bring us up to date on this?
When we first formed the Will Grundy Major Crimes Task Force, it was on the auspices of the ILEAS, the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System. And we've learned that we can't operate under that system because what we're responding to are not what they classify as emergencies. So what we need to do is have an intergovernmental agreement All it says is, when our officers respond to other jurisdictions as a member of the Major Crimes Task Force, it's the village that indemnifies them, we're responsible for them, we're responsible for our own vehicles, just like all the other departments that participate, they're responsible for their officers and vehicles. So, I mean, with that, you know, we tried underneath the Ilias auspice, but we found out that we couldn't do that. And I highly recommend we go this route. We've utilized the Major Crimes Task Force twice since its inception, and we've been successful with it.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I'd like to consider ordinance number 1209, authorizing the president and the clerk to sign an intergovernmental agreement for the Will Grundy Major Crime Joint Task Force.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor, and there was a second for ordinance number 1209. Roll call.
Karen?
Yes.
Meyer? Yes. Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
are you gonna come back to the annual report?
I hadn't planned on it, but what can I do to help you out?
Well, I know the chief has spent a lot of time putting that annual report together, and I'd like to know if you'd like to make any comments regarding his annual report, because I'm not gonna let him off the hook that easy.
Yeah, okay.
So if you have any prepared comments, Mr. Chief,
I tried to help you, Chief.
Okay.
and then allow the board to ask him any questions on his annual report that he's presented, because these guys do put time on these reports, you know.
It looks familiar. I mean, I follow the same format every year to kind of keep it simple. And the reason for that is I'm big on comparisons. I like to compare previous years. I try to identify trends, see consistency. I look for consistency there. The information that's provided is just raw data. I'm not making any inferences by it. These, when it comes to traffic tickets, traffic arrests, incidents, traffic crashes, and so forth, the numbers are what they are. And when I compare to previous years, I look to see if the consistency is there, the averages are there. And that's one thing, you can make all sorts of inferences from it, but I don't see anything that really triggers an alarm to me that we need to sit up and take notice on. You can say that traffic crashes over the several years have increased, but many of them, 16 of them last year were private property traffic crashes. That's backing out of a parking space at the grocery store, having a minor fender bender. 16 of the, I think how many there were, 70? 16 of them were the minor ones. The year in review, I do that, kind of remind, you know, of some of the accomplishments we've had, what's been done. When I start this and I look back, it's like, wow, you know, I forgot. I thought we got that intoximeter 2 years ago. And it was actually just a year ago, last March. But if anybody has any questions on any of the specifics, we got the training that the officers go to on the mileage, consumption, the gas. I got the total gas, the vehicles that we got rid of, that we sold, the new ones, along with the mileage and your average gas mileage per vehicle. I can say on the UCR comparison, page 19, 2013 was a good year for us. I mean, we had 48 thefts, 8 burglaries, and we had 1 aggravated assault. And that aggravated assault was adjudicated. We identified the people involved and nobody wanted to sign complaints. Alcohol was a factor in that. But we had no robberies or criminal sexual assaults.
On page 11, Chief, the total incidents,
Yes.
I look at total incidents from 08 to 13, I see it's dropped by about 2,000 incidents. So I look into the numbers more, and 1,000 of them were on security checks. I believe we went down from 3,000 to 2,000. Is that a change in how we report security checks?
Yes, some of it is an administrative change. Before, when we called in a security check, we called each individual security check in. Now we got them in clusters, what we call beats. So we do 11, 12 businesses, it counts as one security check, but you're incorporating a wide variety of businesses there.
And traffic-related incidents are also down by about 700. And what is a traffic-related incident? Is that a
Well, it's all-
stop, is that a crash?
It's all dealing with traffic. It's anytime there's a traffic arrest, a traffic crash, unless the traffic arrest turned into a criminal arrest, then that falls under criminal. So, and traffic related is a traffic stops also, which means there may have not been a citation issue, but it could have been a warning that was issued.
Chief, under the traffic arrest comparison, uninsured motorists, that really gets in my crawl. It don't appear to really be going down. Are you regulated as to what we can charge for these uninsured motorists?
Well,
Is that governed by the state or?
The courts do, they fine them quite a bit. It's just because a ticket is written doesn't mean they're uninsured. It means they can't show proof of insurance. I would say a good majority of the uninsured motorist tickets we write are dismissed in court because they just didn't have their card with them. Now, they just enacted legislation where if you have a smartphone, you can have your insurance card on a smartphone, and we have to honor that. Because of the problem, I get my insurance cards every 6 months. And I just realized, boy, my card's expired February 10th. I'm driving around with an expired card. I'd get a ticket, but it'd be dismissed because I had insurance. I just couldn't show proof of it.
Is that a must appear then when that happens?
Yes,
You have
they
to
are.
report and provide your card.
They're a must appear, but if the ticket is still at the station, they can come to the station or they can go to Joliet, to the clerk's office. But you still have a good majority of them out there, but
What's your estimation as to how many uninsured motorists we really do have?
I have to check the
compared to
clerks.
people that have them at home or under the seat or something like that.
I mean, I'd just be taking an educated guess, but I'll probably say maybe 25% of that number, they do have insurance, they just can't provide it. If they don't have insurance, they are assessed a hefty fine, or I think it's a $500 fine
And
through
what
the
do we
courts.
get out of that?
It all depends on the breakdown.
Percentage of that $500, how much does the village get?
About 60.
On page 7, the improper lane use and passing, I assume most of those are on Route 1?
Yes. Yes, well, that would be, again, an educated guess, but you can do improper passing if you pass in no passing zone too,
Okay.
on Indiana
The
Avenue.
reason I ask is there's a lot of confusion, and there's a letter later on tonight where a lady wrote us and said that there could be head-ons in the suicide lane in the middle.
Mhm.
Is there a law that says how early you can go into that left turn lane? Or you can't use it to pass, but I've seen people
Right.
pass other vehicles in that left turn lane, and it just aggravates the
Or the
snot
trucks
out of
parked,
it.
or the
And-
big semis are parked in the middle of the
Yeah, they do that by McDonald's, but I know our guys write tickets for that one. I've seen them, they write tickets. There was a guy there yesterday with a big combine parked in the middle lane. But how early can you get into a left turn lane to make a left turn
I
before
think-
you violate?
You know, I think a lot of that is judgment. I mean, I've seen them go in early, as long as they got the indicator on and they're indicating they're gonna turn. As long as they don't use it as a passing lane or another lane. I've seen people just shoot over at the last minute to turn, thinking that they can't cross that solid line, they gotta wait for that break.
Well, I've seen them not go in that lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
You have to sit there and wait for it. But what if a guy passes using that lane? Do you write him a ticket for that?
Yes, that's improper lane usage.
Because there's double yellow lines on both sides.
Yeah,
But I've seen it, and I'm sure you guys have seen that happen.
And see, if you're getting into that lane to make a turn, you can cross that that solid line is just, so you don't cross it for the no passing purpose.
Thank you, Chairman.
Very well. Are there any questions of the chief or myself? School safety.
Number 4, school safety. It's going to be kicking up again. We've got some things planned for this month. The weather kind of inhibited a lot of what we want to do, and February was not a good month to do anything other than shovel snow. And we're supposed to get another 3 to 6 inches by tomorrow night. So, yeah, in March, I'll have more on school safety.
Have we made any contacts as to patrolling the mausoleum?
No, we haven't. I think the last contact we had was, do we have an email saying that, did we get an email from her?
I thought you had discussed that you were not going to provide that, and then we also had an email from the mausoleum saying they had changed their mind, and they just asked what we normally do to respond if Will County requests us to do so, which they always do.
Right. I guess, yeah, I don't know if they were under the impression that that's taboo to us, but we've always, anytime Will County requests assistance, I mean, we go. And which they have.
Okay. Any questions of the chief or myself? If not, that completes my report.
Thank you. Public Works Committee, Trustee Forrest asked if we would handle that. Bob, I would ask you that you do that.
Sure.
But
That means I get the question, buddy.
if I can make a suggestion, since we just received the yearly report, item number 4, we'll table it tonight and have it on next meeting's agenda.
Oh, okay. Water and sewer monthly reports includes year review, water and sewer billing register. The Sierra Builder pump ratio is at 57%. 80% is ideal, 70% is acceptable, anything below 50% is serious water loss. We continually monitor that, but we've had a lot of water main breaks, so we will continue to monitor that water loss situation. We'll table the report next month. Valve turning final report, you haven't gotten that yet?
I'm meeting with Randy on Thursday. You have the report in a disc.
Okay, we do have a price on the VFDs, and we talked about that at the budget workshop. New Street Force Main televising, Bud, is there anything you want to?
I'm just waiting for Vicious Sewer to come out. They've been kind of busy.
Okay,
Is that the one up in Langs? Or
Yes.
is it different?
Yes,
Okay.
it's the one that, the can we relined, it was all, when they put that force line into it, it's not really considered force main, but it's only a 2.5-inch galvanized pipe, and it's, you know, it's got some leaks in it.
It runs from Gary's Corner
Mhm.
To Norm Lane's.
west to Norm Lane's manhole, there's a parkway, and it dumps in there.
Okay.
So everything east of there, you rely on.
And it seemed like they were out there quite a few times, you know, working on that.
Well, we've had some issues with, actually the design of the pump, you know, it wasn't electrically designed properly for that lift station. Carl Cabage came in here years ago, they undersized it, so there's a problem there. They're not the good grinder pumps to begin with, so if you've noticed that we've had gas voted there pulling them out, people are, you know, like those Swifter pads and stuff like that, they're ending up in that lift station a lot more. And at the low, if you can understand how that pump works, it starts up at a low RPM before it reaches, you know, ideal speed as to what it's programmed for. And the initial startup, when those rags get pulled in there, it literally wraps itself around the impellers and it will choke it out, and then it'll kick it out, and we gotta pull the pumps and clean it out. So,
They're high velocity low torque pumps.
Wow.
They're not designed for what we're using them for.
How did they get those down into the sewer to begin with.
You know, it's between the, because it says biodegradable, between that and it's like baby wipes, you know. Everybody's using those now instead of toilet paper, as much as I hate to say it, but that's one of the problems that those bring.
That might be something for the newsletter, you know, what you can flush.
Do you have visual description, pictures on it?
You want to write that article, Mr. President?
Okay, we go. Okay,
That's all I have on number 7.
I hope so.
Number 8, Prairie Avenue water main installation.
That, like I said, Louis and those guys said I would imagine if the weather keeps cooperating here and the ground thaws out a little more, it would be within the next 2 weeks.
Number 1, influent pump and RAS.
The RAS pit's up and running. There was an issue with the contact block in the wet well, so we're still waiting for gas
We're
filter to come
talking buzzwords. RAS is the return aerated sludge
in.
at the
Activated.
sewer plant. It is like the heart of a human body. You've got to have that. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I worry more about, you have 2 pumps that are in there. I worry more about those 2 pumps going out than I do what's coming into the central. There's a lot of things you can do. We've experienced some difficulties. You know, we pulled the 1 pump, they brought it, you had it rebuilt, brought it back in, and a week later the impeller fell off of it at probably, I want to say 11 o'clock at night. I got the call to come in that the lift station was, or the station was down. When I went in there, I noticed that the other pump that they had put in there, they didn't put it in the faceplate with down the railings properly. So I've been kind of fighting with them a little bit, and I'm going to see what's happening when we get our next bill. But it was, as far as I could see, was a bad installation job, and I was kind of fighting with the service guy out there, and I don't think we should be paying for any service calls, especially after a week of something being rebuilt. Needless to say, they came out, they pulled the pump, rebuilt it on the spot, put the Loctite on it, put the impeller in, put the other pump back in line. Everything's been running fine and wonderful since then. So.
But number 1 influent pump we don't have online.
Right, and we're just waiting for some contact blocks, and they'll be back in to take care of it.
Pothole patching?
Well, we did a little bit already, and I believe, weather permitting, we will take care of some tomorrow.
And then you see the response to the resident on Fairway Drive about the left turn lane issue that was brought up at the P&Z hearing. We responded to that. We got a letter from our engineer. We shared that with the resident. I also saw the resident somewhere and talked to her about the issue some more after we got the engineer. We also have an agreement here with Baxter Movement to apply for land application of sludge 5-year permit at a cost not to exceed $5,000. I'm talking to Jonathan and Brian. Even though we have this in the budget for next year, we need to get that permit application on file with EPA by May 1st. So they want to authorize this now, and it will be the bill later on in the next fiscal year. So we need a motion approving that 5-year application. We found out today we don't have to test for radium in that sludge, so that'll reduce our testing costs over the 5-year period of the term. So that would require a motion.
So,
Second.
The motion on the floor, there was a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Whalen?
yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you. Economic Development, Trustee Meyer.
First item, update on Bernard Welding requesting connection to the village sewer system. We met with one of the property owners and regarding annexation and an easement, and we're still talking about it. There are 3 possible routes that we could take, and we're still having conversations as to which way we're gonna go with that. Second item, municipal smartphone application update. The contract was signed, work is beginning. We're actually going to meet with them Wednesday to go over kind of the nuts and bolts of the system. We want to try to get it built as soon as possible, because according to their build manual, first they do the build process, then they have 10 or 15 people download it and try to break it, look for typos, find things that don't work about it before it gets released to the public. But once it gets sent through the App Store, it can take 1 to 6 weeks for the App Store to approve it. So it can be a lengthy process. So we're going to get started on it this week and hope we can move along quickly. I'm going to make a presentation to the Chamber of Commerce on March 17th at 6:30. Anyone is invited if you would like to come, but it's going to be pretty much what I did here, actually probably a little less. There's only one app company now instead of two. So the third item, spring newsletter publication date, has been set for April 17th. We only have 2 weeks left to get out articles and submit to the village clerk for inclusion, and now we have one more idea.
We have one more idea.
You could write that.
No,
Oh,
no, I was hoping Marcy could.
I'll handle it.
1, 2, there's 3 of you at the other station.
I know, it's dear to my heart.
Item 4, intergovernmental meeting has been scheduled for Thursday, May 29th at 7:15 at Washington Township Center. This is the meeting that was canceled due to bad weather back in January, and we're still going to have the discussion on TIF with Tesca and Associates. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. And let's go to Finance Administration, and Trustee Meyer, I'll ask you to take that as well.
Alrighty. Treasurer's report.
Okay, hi everyone. We start with the account balances page. You'll note that we're down $140,000 for the previous month. That's really a function of revenues at this point, not really expenditures. The two accounts are O&M in general that make up primarily the deficit, and that's really normal expense, payroll expenses, et cetera, not anything extraordinary. You'll see in the report that administration puts out on revenues, and we only collected $100,000 in the month. Out of the $2.5 million we had budgeted, it's obviously slanted away from a February collection, and we expect the same in March and April. There's really no property tax at this point. It's sales tax, and the income tax is really the primary incomes that are coming in right at this point of the calendar. And if you look at our chart, the chart on the next page reflects exactly what we're saying. We're heading to our low point of our month, or our year, fiscal year. This is something that's not unexpected. It's a fact of the cash flow of our revenues versus our expenses, which are fairly even if revenues are not. The next page we have is our 625 Dixie account, which we've carved out to keep track of. Obviously, we're on hold here probably, but the only activity we've had is just the interest income over the last couple months. Otherwise, we're sitting at the balance sheet looking at the 269. We'll just keep that highlighted. The checks and other expenses is listed then finally. These are all the outside of the accounts payable payments. Once again, they reflect mostly our payroll expenses and things related to payroll, the health insurances and the different employee benefits that are paid outside of the AP. Our Joy Fuel, Youth Commission, and a few of the commissions had some checks going on the 4th of July, had a few deposits for bands and whatnot, and the Youth Commission had, I think, their daddy daughter dance somewhere around this period, and they had expenses related to that. I removed the negative signs, so it appeared not as drastic as last time. Also included, there's no questions on that, also included is 4th of July budget. Mr. Nelson put together, and I should be happy to talk to it if you guys want to have a brief.
There's not a lot of activity yet. The next 30, 60 days, it'll become more interesting. We'll see most of the expenditures, and then a month later, maybe the sponsors will start coming in, that money, and then the big event in July. So it's not a whole lot to look at right now. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I think that concludes the report. If you don't have any questions.
Okay. I make a motion approving the treasurer's report and the report of financial activity for the prior month.
Second.
Motion on the floor and a second, trustee Meyer. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Larry?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
The treasurer reports, the variance reports are in front of us for our review and understanding for what's happened in the prior month. Also, the bills were provided to us under separate cover. Bob, I had one comment. Did you respond to that email?
Yes, the $200, leftover, pardon.
That's what I thought. Did you readjust?
Yes, and we added 2 bills, street lighting, and Linda Krug, I think, for building cleaning, number 2, we added some 2. The bills are only 2 that we added.
Oh, no.
Patty Meyer was.
Patty was not there. And then it was also the one to Jeanette for petty cash for the front. Okay. Total's been readjusted based on all that. I make a motion approving the bills for the month of February 2014 in a total of $99,000, sorry, $99,409.37.
Second.
Motion on the floor and 1 second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Whalen?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. I'll give you a little summary of the committee meeting that was going over the proposed budget. In short, it was 8 hours. I can't believe it was 8 hours, although it seems every year it's 8 hours, 2 days of 4 before, so. It went well. There's still some items that were out there based on the incentive program that the Public Works head came up with to help our employees go after their sewer and water licenses, which is very important for the Public Works Department. So we'll be working on that also in the budget workshop. We also have the proposed budget with us. It was provided under separate cover. So I would recommend everybody review that and be prepared at the meeting. We'll go through that similar to what we did last year. It won't be line by line, but it will be by group. So if you do have a comment, modification, bear in mind we want to still walk out with a 0 modification to that. So concerning the budget meeting, we're eyeing the 24th of March at 6 o'clock.
Well, we have conflicting, we have one that says 6, but the motion was 6:30. It doesn't matter to us. If you want to come at 6, we'll feed you. If we meet at 6:30, we're not going to feed you, so it's entirely up to you what you want to do. Because usually if we meet at 6:30, we don't provide food.
Well, what would everybody like to do?
But if you want to meet at 6, we'll provide pizza.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with 6.
6:10.
Brian?
I work till 6.
Well, it'll be 6.
I'll be here at 6.
If it's 6, I'll be here at 6. I'll make it. It's just 6 o'clock in Chicago is a lot easier than 6 o'clock in Beecher.
Buddy pizza?
Yeah, we got.
What are you talking about, man? I think you should break that vault open,
I have to make a vote, no.
and let the moths crawl.
It'll be
So-
covered, don't worry.
You want to go in motion, you're fine with 6?
Yeah, I think we need a motion, or is that
I'll
correct?
I'll let John know. I make a motion authorizing the budget workshop meeting on Monday, March 24th at 6 p.m.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Aaron is the second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Larry?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yeah.
Now, as a result of those findings, we will have our budget, our public hearing for the budget, and that will take place on, our plan is to have that on the 28th. If there's no major issues, you should have enough time to get that budget fixed right by.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
You guys need to pass them over.
Right. I make a motion authorizing the public hearing on the proposed budget for 7 p.m., Monday, April 28th.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by trustee Meyer. Any questions or discussion? Roll call.
Whalen?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. This comes up every time. There's one of the reasons why John and I were out today. We need to talk about what we want to do on dates for the village board meetings. Right now, we're going to the 4th Monday of the month. And if anything else comes up, we'll push any additional items to the 2nd Monday of the following month. The big question now is, do we want the second of the month meeting starting at 6:30? And how do we want to approach that? So it's more of an opinion of the board. How do you want to approach this? We would, at that second of the month meeting, we would pay the bills. We're still trying to get a handle on how we're going to pay those bills after the May meeting. We think we'll be able to shift a lot of our billing agencies that are billing the village to resolve that so we don't get any late payments. So we're in the process of trying to get that resolved. So the question now is, if we have bills in April, which we will, do we want to have that meeting at 6:30 or at 7 o'clock? And it would just be to go over the treasurer's report, go over the bills and approve them for payment, and the meeting would end. What would you guys like to do?
Well, what time is the other meeting that you want to go to? 7. So you have to meet at 6:30.
I have another question. If we do both meetings at 6:30, and by June we can get it back to one meeting a month, do we continue meeting at 6:30, or do we move it back to 7?
My suggestion, I think you're jumping around a little bit. I think stay with the issue. April and May, we have no choice, correct? We have to do it at 6:30 on the second month, correct?
You don't have to, but the plan.
Well, 6:30 or 7, but you're saying we have to meet. So my suggestion would be is there should be discussion or motion on April and May only at this point and get that clear
Yes.
before we go any further. We're jumping around.
I would kind of agree with Greg. We ought to just try to focus on the next few months until we can get the bill issue resolved, and maybe we don't have to worry about that. We're back to 7 o'clock.
But if I understand it correctly, I think that discussion's ended, right? I think bottom line is there is no other way to do it. It has to be done at either the second or the fourth meeting.
Right.
And bottom line is either we need April and May to even get us through the fourth Monday of the month.
Right, but Brian's question is, if we make this motion at 6:30, is that to make that second meeting of the month 6:30 automatically, because we already voted on the first one at 6:30? I think that's your question.
Well, no, what I'm saying is right now, we need to focus right now on the first few months to May.
Right.
So whatever it takes us to get to May so we can pay the bills, and I'll make sure the village doesn't go in the negative with our creditors. 6:30 is what works that out. I still think you would still want to have your regular meeting at 7 o'clock, which would be the fourth Monday.
I don't think that's wise. I don't think we should have two different times.
You want to just start them at the same time?
Lot of confusion.
Right, if we have 6:30, we should stay at 6:30. To my mind, the second and fourth Mondays should be at 6:30 from now on. The question is, do we want to approve bills on the second Monday? Okay, and get you out of here right away. Do we want to push the bills to the fourth Monday, correct? In other words, if you leave it to the second Monday, get you out of here, it's almost exactly what we're doing now, except we would try and limit the agenda on the second Monday. But understand that if items do come up, we still would have to put them on the agenda, and we could not let the school board issues dictate to us what we would have on the agenda that night. But we would try and accommodate everybody and leave it short, sweet, and simple, approve the bills just like we are now, and get you in and out. So basically, all we would have to do is change the meetings to 6:30, leave it the way it is.
So you're not trying to shift the bills to the fourth?
No, that's one option we have. I'm just trying to clarify, that's why I say I'm even getting confused up here, but anyways. So I think that's one option we have. If you can get here, because you're usually the one that can't get here any earlier than 6:30, if you feel you can get here at 6:30, and we feel we can get the bills in and out in that half hour, and basically shift all agenda items to the fourth Thursday, unless we have something that needs to be brought up, then basically we just leave everything the same, just have a short agenda on the second Tuesday, and we start at 6:30.
Monthly, you're going Thursday, Monday. Second Monday and the fourth Monday. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Now you mess it up, but anyways.
So then you're talking 2 meetings a month for
Yeah.
the rest of the year.
Well, until June, we can reanalyze if we can get just to the fourth Monday of the month. Right now, we need time to close our books and to notify them.
See, that's the point I was trying to make. Are we talking about doing it all the time, or are we just talking about May and June? We have,
Sounds like May and June.
Right now, you're gonna have to do it for April, May, and June, because you have to pay those bills. We've gotta close the books with your creditors right now to be able to make any change, correct?
I think what Greg's saying though is there's gonna come a point in time you're gonna need to be twice a month anyway. Is that correct?
that is my opinion, yeah. And the easiest solution would be is just go 6:30, have the short agenda, and then move on.
That's fine with me.
That's fine.
Okay, Scott? Do you agree with that? Ron?
Sounds confusion.
I have
It's
a
all
question
confusion.
for-
How can
Well,
they,
Have we ever thought of asking the school board whether or not they would consider changing their name?
Well, we haven't, but here's what I think is gonna happen, and granted, it may not be in our lifetime, but it's gonna be some point in time. There seems to be some discussion one time or another about another taxing body being created, it would be a park district. If that taxing body is created, in my mind, somebody's gonna be on somebody else's night. Am I correct? So I really don't think it matters what anybody else does. It's right now, I think, trying for us to conduct the business in our normal way. There was an indication that we want the public to be accessible or be able to come to our meetings. And in my mind, I don't know if we need to do that because number one, our meetings are open to the public all the time. It is on television, it is on YouTube. All of us are very available to any resident that wants to speak with us through the village hall and so on and so forth. So I think all we're trying to do is just trying to accommodate that. If someone has a need to go to the school board meeting on that second Monday a month, can we accommodate that? To me, that's the whole point of this. And I think some things that are occurring in the current time frame, there seems to be, maybe there is a concern for a parent to be at the school at this particular point in time. And if that's the case, I think we should allow them to go. And that actually what took place tonight, and obviously after business was taken care of, one of the two are here.
Is this a short term or a long term issue?
No, no.
Really no.
We both, John has kids in the school as well as I do. And the other thing is that the residents have the right to come. Right now, you couldn't
Disagree
get
with
in
you
that,
there, Brian.
in that school.
I'm just asking the question.
No, I was responding to Bob.
Okay.
Okay, just so that, Brian, just to make sure that, again, to respond to that, there's nobody here that disagrees with that.
No, not at all.
But I think we're all so accessible, I don't think we need to change the meeting to accommodate that, because eventually, we're gonna be double booked on one night anyways, if in fact a park district or another taxing body is created somewhere. I mean, we can use that argument all we want. I think the main thing is that we are in fact accessible to our constituents. There is a complaint process, if we need to, they can come into the village hall, they can complain to Bob, they can complain to me, they can go to their favorite trustee and complain. And then even further, if that doesn't satisfy them, they can certainly come to the village board meeting and complain. They can decide when to come. I don't know how more open we can be. So I think again, the main issue is that if there are parents that are on this board, that we have a conflicting night, the main thing is to make sure that we accommodate them, that if they want to go to the school board meeting, they feel, or any other meeting on our nights, if they feel it's that important, they have that choice to do that.
I agree.
So the question becomes, again, do we just simply change it to 6:30, leave it on the second and fourth Mondays, which I think those are the days that we've agreed upon. I think the way that the survey worked out, the only issue is, do we continue the way we are with just one meeting a month on the second Monday, switch it to the fourth Monday entirely and pay bills, or have a short meeting on the second Monday of the month to pay bills, and then those are the three options, if I understand it correctly.
Well, you already voted at the last meeting by a vote of 6-0, cancel the second meeting in April.
You had indicated
First
to me,
meeting, which
you
is
had
the
indicated to me that we now had to meet in April in order to get us through this process.
Yes.
So there would have to be a revote on the April meeting. And there would also have to be a vote at the May meeting, which then would take us through to the June meeting. And then from that point on, that is then when it would be a permanent decision. April and May are just to get us through this. That's why I'm saying you've got two different things going on. April and May is a temporary thing. In a roundabout way, it could be a transition thing. Beginning at June would be the thing that we do from here on out, whether we stay the same, whether we change it, whatever. That's what I think is going on. And like I say, to me, in my mind, we only have like three options after that, after June.
But see, isn't there a process that you have to go through before you get to June?
That's the
Because
April.
dealing with our vendors and,
That's what April and May is going to do to get us there.
okay.
If in fact you want to change the procedure. All right, everybody?
So basically, you're saying if we want to change from June onward, we have to make our decisions now anyway, so that we can get set up for the vendors to be able to pay the fourth Monday of the month.
I am asking that we make a decision tonight because Jeanette has indicated that she's had inquiries for the future. We're saying that we don't know what the meeting nights are going to be or what the meeting times are going to be. we had just a discussion. So I think we need to address this tonight and decide what we're gonna do and get it off the books. Sure.
Just point of law too, I'm required by state law to post on our website and to provide all staff, all press with meeting notices stating our specific meeting dates and times the first of every year. And I have had one inquiry by email saying, because they saw, I think, the schedule online doesn't necessarily match what we discussed at the last couple of board meetings, and I've been hesitant to change it because I'm not sure which way the board is gonna go. And I just want to kind of let the residents know, you know, so they don't get more confused as to what we're gonna do, so that we can move forward and I can notify all the people that need to be notified.
Okay, if I can. Bobby, help me out here. April and May and June, right, or April, May.
April and May, you would need to meet the second Monday of the month just for the purpose of paying bills.
At 6:30, we're changing the time to 6:30.
Okay,
Is that correct?
that's your time, okay.
That's
Now, does
correct.
that partake what you do on the fourth Monday?
Okay, all right, let's start there. Is there a motion to change the second Monday of April and May, 6:30?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions over doing here?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Being that we're starting to meet at 6:30 in some of these meetings, is that going to give the residents time to get home from work and get here to these meetings
We
at
actually haven't gotten,
6:30?
we actually haven't gotten that one yet.
Okay.
We've already talked about April and May yet.
Okay,
Okay,
well,
so
I'm
hold-
just
Hold that thought.
thinking about that.
Hold that thought, because we had that discussion.
Okay.
All right, we're only voting on April and May, the second Monday at 6:30. Correct? Roll call.
Can you clarify who made the motion and who seconded it? Because I heard a lot of
I have
voices there.
Scott made the motion, Marcy seconded.
Thank you.
Is that correct?
Cleary?
Repeat the motion.
Motion to move the meetings on the second Mondays of April and May to 6:30 PM.
That's all at this point, right?
Cleary?
Yes.
Aaron's?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Whaling?
Yes.
Okay, that takes care of our problems in April, May, doesn't matter. Okay, so far, we're still meeting at 7 o'clock on the fourth Thursday for those weeks that we have meetings. All right, do we need to do anything with that?
That's entirely up to you. We do have to move the fourth Monday in May,
That's the next
because
thing.
that's Memorial Day.
But that's also the seventh item on my list.
Okay.
So we've already made a motion having the public hearing on April 28th at 7 o'clock for the budget.
That's done.
So your
April's
second meeting in April starts at 7 o'clock.
not- And so far, we have not made any permanent changes to anything yet. So the May meeting now, the May meeting, because it's a holiday on the fourth Thursday of the month, right? Fourth
Would
Monday,
have to be
this
sure,
Thursday,
and
fourth
that's the
Monday.
next item we have on our list.
Right, so go for it.
Okay. Consider a motion moving the scheduled meeting on Memorial Day to Wednesday, May 28th, not April 28th, Bob, at 7 PM. Or do we want to make that 6:30? We're consistent.
But we have to do the other one at 7, right, on April 28th?
That one, we've already made a motion and approved.
Since, once again, we're not talking about anything permanent, may I suggest that we stay at 7 o'clock?
Okay. So that's my motion.
I'll second
Okay, there's a motion and there's a second. Everybody know what we're voting on?
No.
Okay, the fourth Monday of the month of May, am I correct,
Yes.
is a holiday, and we're moving it to May 28th. But we're keeping the time at 7 o'clock, which is what we normally do.
So we're gonna meet on Wednesday, May 28th, and the reason why I moved to Wednesday is because Marcy has our time meeting here on Tuesdays.
We got the same problem again. People can't attend.
It's because of the holiday, right?
Change.
Because of the holiday, Ron, we have to do it no matter what. Okay. Everybody know what we're voting on? Roll call.
Whaling?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
in order to resolve the ongoing dialogue that we've had about asking to permanently change these times to 6:30, at the very least at the second ones, but we've already identified that no, if we're gonna change it to 6:30, it's gonna be at both meetings, the second and the fourth. We have several options. The first option would be, is just to move everything to the fourth Thursday of the month.
Monday.
Monday, Jesus, why am I saying that? Fourth Monday of the month at 6:30 all the time. Or you can leave it at 7 o'clock all the time. And you don't have to meet on the second Monday of the month at all. That's one option.
Right.
The next option is you can still meet on, you can now meet on the second and fourth Monday of the month, like we would anyways if we had a long agenda. But the second Monday of the month would be to approve the bills like we are now, but it would be a short agenda. Try to move everything to the fourth Monday and try and get out of here by 7 o'clock. The last option is just move the meetings to 6:30 and continue as you are. Did I get them all?
To make a comment on that, we cannot restrict the recognition of the audience. So if you have people that show up the second Monday of the month, and we only have the treasurer's report and the bills on the agenda, we still have to recognize everybody that's at the meeting. The other concern, and that's just to let you know, we'll try to get out of here by 7, there's no guarantee. The other question I have is, and I think Gail raised it before, is 6:30 too early for a business meeting where public policy issues are being discussed? I don't know. You know, I have no idea. The second Monday of the month, all we're doing is paying bills. That second meeting, recognition of audience would occur at 6:30, and I don't know how many people can make it at 6:30. I like 6:30 myself, but that doesn't mean other people can. So I don't know.
I think we should keep it at 7 o'clock for that fourth Monday. Because we're gonna gravitate that way anyway, because we're just trying to make it over the next couple months. And then we'll get back to the cycle.
The new cycle. If
The
you're
new
shifting everything
cycle.
to the fourth.
Right, one meeting a month unless we need it somewhere down.
Okay, so you want to shift bills and everything to the fourth Monday of the month at 7 o'clock.
That's the ultimate layout.
Starting June.
Well, whatever it takes you to get there.
And
June's
then-
what it is, June's what it is.
And then if we have to meet, it would be the second Monday of the month at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So basically, you want to try, and if I can just make a comment, in my mind, we are still meeting twice a month. It's just all compacted into one day a month because of the length of the meetings that we're having. You know, we're here till 10 o'clock at night, which is very unusual. So in my mind, we are meeting twice a month. As far as the time-wise goes, we're just compacting it into one meeting night. And that's what you're suggesting that you would prefer rather than meeting on that second Monday just for bills, correct?
Okay, to throw that on the table then, we would probably need a meeting the second Monday in May of every year to close those books. You can't have those books open until the 28th, 29th of May, because the fiscal year was end April 30th, and got to get those books closed. Unless the last bill payment in April becomes the final bill payment for that fiscal year. You want to, and I'm sure we're in the process to figure that one out. The next issue you have, if you're only going to meet on the fourth Mondays of the month, is in November and December, you're probably going to have holiday conflicts. Now, in November, either the weekend after Thanksgiving or the week of Thanksgiving, you'll have no choice. You'll either be meeting the Monday after Thanksgiving or the Monday of Thanksgiving. In December, that fourth Monday is always going to be in the holiday week. You can't get around it. So you move that meeting to the second Monday? I don't know. Or do you want to meet on that holiday? I'm just throwing these out so we can think these through before we make that final decision.
Well, in December, does the school board meet?
The school board always
They're
meets
not
the
on
second
school.
Monday of the month, with the exception of a holiday. They move their meetings to Wednesday. So in October, when Columbus Day occurred, we had our meeting because the village hall was open, it's a state holiday, but they moved their meeting to Wednesday night. Because the state law says you cannot have a public meeting if your offices were closed on that day.
There is one other option we did not mention. Is leave everything exactly as it is today, and if there's a need for anybody to go to the school board meeting, they simply go to the school board meeting. We just have to make sure that we have a quorum, just like my opinion is that we're going through a lot of trouble and dialogue to change something that maybe we really don't have to change. If, bottom line is, it's like anything else. If you have a need at home that you can't attend this meeting, or if you have another need somewhere else for whatever reason, and you can't make a board meeting, then obviously it's understandable that you, as long as you call and let us know what's going on, and I don't think there's any problem with somebody going to something that takes priority that night, and I think everybody understands that we've taken an oath, we have to be here, we have to do what we have to do. We all understand that. The easiest thing would be is just to leave everything the way it is, conduct business the way we have been for quite some time, and the bottom line is that there's a need to go to the meeting as we did tonight.
The fourth Monday in December is the 22nd.
Or suppose, on the same vein, we kept it on the second Monday, and then it's 6:30, and put the audience portion after finance or something, started with finance committee, so if Brian wanted to leave after his committee was done, he could still go to the school board meeting, we could approve the bills, and then have the audience recognition, which would be closer to 7 o'clock, so that it would accommodate the working people, but you'd still be on that second Monday. Just throwing up now.
That's Would you like to make a motion? See where it goes. We've discussed this for several months. We've thrown out the option. Do we want to table this till trustee Forrest is here?
April's covered.
April and May is.
May's covered. Question becomes June. And
I make a
understand-
motion.
I understand Jeanette's problem. She doesn't know when the meetings are, we're supposed to be a year ahead of time. She can't, you know.
I make a motion moving the scheduled meeting on the fourth, for the fourth Monday, starting at 7 o'clock, starting June of 2014 forward.
I'll second it, see where we go.
All right, there's a motion on the floor, and I have a second. And I have a question about the motion.
Okay.
We already do that now. We already have a motion on the floor to have, or an ordinance that says that we meet on the fourth Monday of the month at 7 o'clock.
That's true, yeah. They really went.
All we have to do is make a business decision on what meetings you're going to cancel.
Yeah, that's true.
You made a motion, Ron, to,
Technically, you're right.
on the fourth Monday of the month at 7
So
o'clock.
technically, the motion should have been to cancel the second
Second
meeting of the month, starting in June.
Right,
So be it.
you gotta rescind your,
Rescind my earlier comment.
I rescind my second.
So now the motion is to cancel the second Monday of the month meeting from June forward.
Does it work with the bills?
Yeah, because we're gonna shift the bills to the
It's
fourth
my
Monday.
understanding the bills can be shifted, although it's also going to be somewhat labor intensive, but they said they can do that, yes. Okay, I don't think it should be open-ended, cancel the second meeting of the month all the way down the road. In the past, we have always canceled, let's say, for instance, the June, July, August meeting, then 3 months go by and then we cancel those meetings. You can't just cancel all the meetings forever. If I can suggest, what you're trying to do is you're trying to say that you are going to cancel the second meeting in June, July, and August.
The second meeting?
The second.
The second Monday.
Second Monday.
Second Monday.
Second Monday
Yeah.
meeting of month, June, July, and August,
Why stop at August?
because that's the way we've been doing it. We
Well,
don't
we've been
just,
doing them by quarters.
Yeah, basically. Because there are occasions where we need that second meeting of the month, and a good example is April. We typically, in the historic past, have had 2 meetings in April because of the budget. The audit, we could meet the second Monday in October and not be in conflict with the school board meeting because they moved theirs in October. So you could have a second meeting in October, not be in conflict with any other tax amount meeting. So I would think that 3 months at a time is probably a good.
are you amending your motion? motion now?
Amended.
Amending your second?
Yes.
Okay,
I'll
I will
second.
make one comment. Okay, then what would happen is if after the period of time, let's say June, July, and August goes by, and bottom line, although they'd probably kill us, probably move the bills back, wouldn't you? Yeah, okay, never mind, I'll shut up.
I think that look told everything.
It's gonna take quite some work.
Yeah, it just so you know.
When do we meet for planning and zoning?
Fourth Thursday.
Fourth Thursday.
So there will be occasions where they would meet 3 days after we do, and then they would have to wait 3 weeks for the board to meet after the P and Z meeting. And we discussed that in a couple months.
Okay, everybody understand what the motion is now? Basically, you're canceling the second Monday of the month in June, July, and August, am I correct? I think that was a yes.
Yes.
Everybody understand what we're going, and the meetings are still going to be at 7 o'clock? Meetings are still at 7 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay. Then, okay, roll call, I think.
Cleary?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Whalen?
Yes.
Hallelujah.
At least we have a meeting plan.
Well, we can see how it goes.
Right.
If it doesn't work out, then we
Well,
got.
it gives us 60 or 90 days to get those due dates changed on those bills. A lot of those bills get mailed out on the first of the month, and they're due the 30th of the month. I don't care what the attorney says about our rates of pay, they're just gonna tack interest on it and the real
That's.
Well, and see, if you look at it, and he's right, the state statute states what you can do, but the creditors have the right to establish in your contract what that net is. And if it's net 15, net 10, net 20, net 30, it's what's in your contract. So even if the state says, well, you have 60 days to pay it, if your contract with that creditor is net 30, your term is net 30. Can't change it.
Your turnaround time, once, we approve those bills, we get those checks in there.
Don, did you get the question?
We approve at the board meeting, the bills get prepared on the Tuesday, the day after the board meeting. They go to the treasurer and they're mailed out that following Thursday. That's 4 days.
That's
We
current
close
practice.
the Monday.
The current practice is
Start
the
Thursday.
money is transferred and the checks are actually good on Thursday. And that's when they can either be picked up, mailed, dispersed from Thursday on.
So if we meet on, the worst case scenario would be meeting on February 28th, would be the fourth Monday. It would be the 3rd of March at the earliest, and then those checks.
Are most of these bills local type bills? Or are you sending out of state?
It's a mixture of a lot of different kinds of bills. There's a lot of local bills,
I would-
reimbursements, people locally.
I would say 80%
I'd
is
say
probably
most of them.
Illinois,
Illinois.
but many of them bill on the 30th, they're due within 15 to 30 days net, and then there's like a 1.5% fee to get charged on top of that, and I don't know on, their policies on changing
I
those due
think
dates or their billing dates.
realistically, you've got a couple of key ones that need to be talked to, but there isn't a whole lot of them, I don't think.
I mean, most of them are net 30 and they're billed on the 30th of each month.
You got my summary.
Right, we did a
We
summary.
went through the ones that you have right now, and they're all of them. It's like a shotgun blast. Some are net 10, some are net 30. There's one bill, believe it or not, that was on the police account for uniforms. And it's 31 to 60 days late because the bill was back in December. And we paid these guys twice. That guy's bill was not in there.
Yeah,
We
some of
just
those-
approved that payment,
yeah, some
and
of
there's
those
no
have-
interest applied to that account.
Yeah, some of them are very lenient, they're really good on their due dates. I've had a number of other vendors though that we've paid late and they give me a call and say, when are you paying your bill? And other ones that assess penalties where I've had to call them and get it removed, so.
I haven't discussed this with Jeanette or Kim yet, Brian, but one of my ideas is to pay the bills the second Monday in May, the old fiscal then when we meet on May 28th, pay whatever bills we got in the file on the new budget for the new fiscal year. So we would actually have 2 bill runs in May.
As long as
And that
it
would
doesn't
get us
cause
on
them
that
problems.
4th Monday of the month cycle.
As long as it doesn't
But I
cause
don't know
them
the
additional
probably
problems.
if that would work.
Will that throughout the variance reports, because you're paying bills that you don't normally pay?
Close out the fiscal year, so that would be fine. But that's an idea to get put on that cycle. That would work.
It goes online too.
We can't do that.
Speed it up.
We can't do that.
Well, we can probably.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we going?
I have no idea, is that the end report?
That is my report. You wanna go, Public Works?
Done?
Oh, you're done?
That's fine. Okay, I believe we're at the village president report.
A lot of discussion.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Union Expressway update. There's an ombudsman that's been appointed by IDOT to represent the property owners. He's begun his work and he is going to address the board on April 24th meeting. South Suburban Airport update. We were at a Will County Airport Committee meeting, which, to put it nicely, is they're sort of fighting amongst themselves on their mission statement, Bob, is that it? And contrary to what the paper said, Bob and I got dragged into it, and I was quoted as saying, I don't know what I said because I didn't say it, but anyway, Bob and I looked at each other and said, you never said that, which I didn't, but anyways, they're fighting amongst themselves over their mission statement, and so basically, that's really all I have with that. Nothing else over the airport right now. EastCom board update, Stager and South Chicago Guides are in fact joining EastCom. Stager Estates, which is a fire department only, they still may pursue other options. And like I said, with them joining, what it may do, and it probably will do, is lower our rates, which we've already been notified what the rate will go down to for dispatching services for the police department. The Will County Governmental League Lobby Day is set for March 26th and 27th. Bob and I will be attending that down in Springfield. And once that takes place, we'll let you know what happened. Route 1 and 390 corridor. Bob?
Yeah, they picked a finalist and they signed a contract with Trans Systems and their subconsultants for $278,000. They are our kickoff meeting next week.
And the Holiday House Walk, it appears a group is going to pick up the Holiday House Walk, but I'd like to have a conversation with them once upon a time before we actually announce that. I don't know what their plans are in the future. The Beautification Commission had decided not to pursue that any longer, and there'll be another group picking that up, I hope. And then last but not least, to fill what was actually my vacancy that was created on the 4th of July Commission, I am asking for a motion to appoint Trish Moran to fill my vacancy on the Beecher 4th of July Commission.
So, second.
There is a motion on the floor and a second. Any questions or discussion?
Is she currently involved with the 4th of July?
Currently involved, she has attended a meeting.
Has she been volunteering with the 4th of July in the past? So she understands what she's getting into, and she's been involved in this, or?
To my knowledge, no, she may have helped out in the big roast stand or something like that, which we don't know about. She is fully aware of what's taking place. She's had a discussion with me because she's actually taking my place in the food stand. Thank God, anyways, in the food stand.
In order, she was kind of recruited, Brian.
She was what?
Kind of recruited, asked.
She met some requirements that we needed. We feel that she has resources possibly to get more volunteers as a food stand, which the food stand is one of the hardest places to get volunteers to work. That's one of the reasons why she was chosen or suggested. And she was willing to work in the food stand, so.
Okay.
There was a motion and a second. Roll call.
Wayman?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Cleary?
Yes.
Is there anything else that needs to come for the board? May I ask a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Roll call.
Cleary?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Coleman?
Yes.
Wayman?
Yes. Wait a second.